Hello, how are you? So this morning I went out and did what feels like the first sunrise photo shoot I've done in absolutely ages. Really cool morning. Met up with my mate Dan in one of the 15 million castles that we've got here in South Wales, down in Carmarthen. Absolutely wonderful morning. Until I got back and had a look at the footage and the photographs and everything, and yeah, everything that could have gone wrong this morning went wrong. Instead of scrapping the video, wiping it off completely, I thought we'd learn from the mistakes. Now I'm not going to take any ownership for any of these mistakes. I'm blaming it all on the technology that was with me at the time. Of course I'm going to. I'm not taking this on the chin. So everything that was with me, everything that went wrong, we're going to talk about it after the video and have a look at the pictures. And yeah, I'll see you in a minute. This might be better. Let's have a look. Never pulled in here before. See him? Carrick-Kennen Castle, South Wales. Absolutely gorgeous. I've never seen it surrounded by fog like that before. That bugger's beaten me.
Fucking ages.
You beat me. What?
You couldn't go up there, like, but it's a bit too high, I think.
Look, I couldn't see that from down there.
Yeah, it's nice that bit there.
That is gorgeous. I've never seen it like that there, and nice guy as well. I'm keeping an eye on that composition over there, because there's at the right of that bank there's a tree that sticks out on its own, and I'm thinking there might be a panoramic shot there, just emphasising that tree separate to the rest of the group of trees on the lump. I really like the way that tree sticks out, and it looks like it's on its own, and all the other trees sort of queuing up to the left of it. So that really will be a cool shot if I get that. So I'm keeping an eye on that one. But look at the mist around, that's just absolutely beautiful. I've been here probably 10 or 20 times. I've never seen it like this, so absolutely thrilled to see all these trees sticking out this fog here. It's absolutely stunning. How's Dan getting on?
Yeah, alright, like.
Alright, like. So have you been shooting the castle and that view to the right, or have you just been doing the castle?
I've got time lapse of the castle there, which I'll give to you if you want.
Oh, you kind?
And then I've done that mountain view just shooting, and there's nice trees there as well now.
Yeah, definitely the best thing about this location is you can park your car there, which means you can bring coffee, and you haven't got to hike anywhere and stuff, which I do love, and I miss my hiking massively. But it's lovely when you've got a good sunrise location that you can park your car right next to, and especially when you're late. Just roll out your car and you know where your tripod's going, and you've got a view like that. So yeah, absolutely fan-flipping-tastic. I'm honing in on my panoramic of that lump at the minute. That is the shot I'm going for, because until the light starts hitting that castle over there, I'm not feeling that inspired by it. But over there, that's something else. A minute ago I gave Dan, because he's never been in a vlog before, so I gave him the camera to listen to, and he said, okay, you've got audio problems, so apologies for that. It's a new mic. The XT4 is on auto. If you've got an XT4, don't put the mic on auto, it sounds atrocious. So luckily we spotted that, and that's been fixed. Castle shot is not happening. Still got a lovely invasion over there, but you can't see anything over there. This is devastating. I feel obliged to get a castle shot now that we're here though.
Yeah? George, I'm not sure if you're talking to me or the camera half the time.
I'm not sure I'm talking to you guys. Oh. See, now the sunlight is starting to glow on the side of the castle.
Bit, but the mist's
but
death now, isn't it?
Yeah. Invasion is gone. So it's solid over there, but that is not rolling in.
That might move though, because that's where it's coming
soon as it gets past that hill, it just fizzles out. But you love the noise of it.
Yeah.
Oh, you got your film camera out. FM
F2.
Nikon F2. Check out his Instagram. I'll put a link down on the bottom for his Instagram. So he's got like a top level.
Have a look through. The hardest thing about this is it's sort of flipped. So you move left and the camera goes right.
Yeah. Same as a TLR.
Nightmare.
Anything good in there?
Yeah, it's right, yeah. No idea, it's black and white film, so. Yeah.
Bit of atmosphere. Let's check our Instagram. We've got some sort of atmosphere. Whoa! I just slipped on it. What do you reckon? That fall on my arse pretty much summed up the morning I had. It was great to catch up with Dan though, really awesome photographer, so check out his Instagram, really nice guy. So basically this video is all about knowing your gear, right? Now on a serious note, of course, I'm not blaming anything on the actual technology itself, but there's definitely things that I need to be aware of just to make sure. So let's work through it. Firstly, the X-T4 audio. Now, normally I'd use a lav microphone like I've got here, wirelessly on there, works perfectly, and I've got this in manual mode, the audio in manual mode, everything fully manual actually, apart from focusing. And that works fine. Now, when I bought this to get some more ambiance sound, this fluffy thing, it's just bouncing around, I basically put this camera in auto audio, and yes, I know you're going to say there's other YouTubers that have made a video on this saying that that the Fuji, maybe the X-T4, I don't think the X-T3 does it, but the X-T4 in auto audio is dreadful. It's just unusable. So I'm not sure why, and I forgot that. Just because I chucked this on last minute, I forgot that. So yeah, that went from auto to being in -6, and -6 seems to rectify the problem. So that's good news. Hopefully problem solved. Apologies for that. It was very lucky that Dan was with me, and he insisted on vetting his his little speech bit. So yeah, otherwise we would not have known about that. Secondly, the IBIS on the X-T4, on the Z7. Now I'll show you the pictures, but basically I wasn't photographing with the Z mount lens. Now this camera is incredible. It's incredibly sharp. The lens is incredible. I absolutely love the Z7. So what I'm going to say now is nothing to do with the system. So this is what I mean about knowing when you've made a mistake, basically, and then jokes aside, actually taking it on the chin. So let's look through these images. I like these pictures, but they're basically unprintable, unusable. So I think what's happened, because I was using this lens here, and initially I was hand holding the shots at around about 300-400 mil, and I had the image stabilization, image stabilization on, because obviously at 400 mil, I'd like to have been at least 600th of a second. I was about 200 or 300th of a second, so I was hand holding this with the IBIS switched on. And when you switch it on in the lens, it switches the IBIS on in the body. So I was hand holding this camera. Now, when I put this on that and then that on a tripod, I know, because I do it religiously and I'm really good at it now because I've made mistakes, is switching the iOS off there, which will turn the IBIS off in the camera. So when I'm on a tripod, and especially when I'm at a slow shutter, I always, even with the Fuji, it doesn't matter what camera you've got, you should always switch that off. So best thing is just to leave it off to begin with. But what I don't know what's happened. There's two options. Both of them are my fault. I reckon I must have knocked that. This is very easy to knock. I think I must have knocked that switch. Although I do remember later on in the shoot switching the iOS on, back on again when I was hand holding. So there is I am 99% certain that it was off, but obviously something's happened. Now, when I've taken these photographs, if we jump in and have a look at these photographs, they are, well, the first one's f6.3, 50th of a second ISO 400, and that would have been focused over here on these trees at the back. Now, what I need to know is about knowing your gear, so you should test this and you should know what your camera and your lenses are all limited, their limits. So, zoomed in at 400 mil, the widest aperture this will go is 6.3. Now, I've taken this shot at 6.3. Don't know why. Russian, perhaps. Now this shows me that this lens is not sharp at 6.3 because on a tripod, them settings, the nothing's moving. The camera and everything should have been fine. So there's no reason why these trees aren't sharp in the background. I don't know, YouTube's probably compressing this, but these aren't sharp. And I know because I've got the lovely contrast of the white area, the camera will focus very easily on that back area. So I know this will be fine. Right. So we can kind of okay the settings there. 6.3, my mistake, should have been f8, should have been f11, whatever. The next photograph, there's a theme here. I focused on this tree here. I love this photograph, on that tree there, because I like the way it was all on its own and it was focused on that, because I like the sort of isolation of that lonely tree. Like this photograph, but again, and look at these settings, f11, 15th of a second, ISO 400. So obviously now we know the iOS is off because we're on a tripod, and if I zoom in, it's okay. It's not horrible, but it's not as sharp as I've come to expect from this lens and this camera. So I know I focused again in a good contrasty area. So I know the camera is at plenty, very easy for it to focus. So I know it's nail focus. What I think might have happened is yesterday I was doing some product photography for a rum bottle or something. I'll put a picture up in the kitchen, and I was using this camera, this lens quite a lot, and the Nikon's got a delayed shutter option, which means when you shut the camera on and off, it still has a 1 second, 2 second, 3 second shutter option. It's delayed shutter option. So you press it, 1, 2, 3. Now I left that on 1 second from the shoot yesterday, and I didn't change it to 3 seconds. Now because this big boy here at 400mm, 1 second it mustn't be enough because I've got a gasket there and a gasket by the camera. That 1 second can't be enough to stop this lens shaking. So by the time I've hit the shutter button, the whole thing, even though I'm on a tripod at 400mm, is going to exaggerate and notice that movement. So I think that 1 second delay isn't enough. It perhaps should have been at least 3 to 5 seconds. I'd probably say 5 seconds, even though we weren't in a windy situation. It should have been all with a cable release. Either way, I think that's what's happened, because I'm 100% that the iOS wasn't on when I took them photos, but they're not actually sharp. And I've actually had to go through and add a hell of a lot of sharpening and a bit of noise reduction. Even if you get rid of the noise reduction, doesn't make any difference. But obviously, if you press Alt there, you can see the mask of where the sharpening is. So I've done a lot of sharpening just to get them trees sharp, and it's a real shame that the trees just still aren't sharp. Real shame, because I like that photograph. Yeah. So this photograph, the next one, is the worst, I think, and I really like this photograph. Obviously I'll try and get the photograph again, but what's going on with my computer? It's gone really slow. So this is it loaded? Yeah, so that is the loaded tree. It's disastrous, and I know because that was my focal point. That was where I was focusing. F11, 15th of a second, ISO 200 with our 1 second timer and a polarizer. That's what's happened. I think it's because that 1 second delay isn't enough for the camera to slow down. Because that look at that. It's just not. It's not even Instagrammable. So even if it stood, from here, actually, it'd probably be all right, but there's no way I'd print it. And obviously this is hardly any editing done to these photographs, just purely because there's no point. But yeah, lesson learned on that. Really, really important, I think, especially at 400mm, to have a good amount of time to stop any movement. You just touching the camera like this is going to introduce movement in the lens and stuff. So yeah, 400mm, different kettle of fish. Now these ones, if I show you the original on the left is the RAW. Now what happened is, because I was shooting with this with the polarizer on it, magnetic case polarizers, fantastic. Because of the change in temperature, what I think happened, I was zoomed in again at 400mm and again at f6.3. So we know now that this lens isn't going to be sharp at 6.3 zoomed in at 400mm. We know that because we've made them mistakes. But what happened was, I was thinking, why is my ISO having to, because I had to push my ISO right up to 1200, and it was way past sunrise. And I couldn't work out what was going on. And I've taken these photographs, and I really quite like them, and it's such a shame. But they were really murky, and I couldn't work out why. And the ISO, and there's no detail in it. And it turns out that the polarizer had actually condensated a lot in the back of in there. So I took that off, and I tried to get a few shots without the lens, the polarizer on there. But unfortunately, the shot was gone. But yeah, the condensation killed this photograph. And I've had that before with with filters on the Fuji. So I think it's just a change of temperature, something to be aware. If you're out in a cold morning and then it starts warming up, you're going to need to check your polarizer, because I seem to get condensation quite a lot. Now, Dan actually mentioned, I haven't got one, I'll put a link in the description if you have a look. There's an Amazon thing you can stick around, like a band, which has got a USB dongle on it, a USB lead on it, put it around your lens, plug it into a power bank, and it actually keeps a bit of heat going, a tiny bit of heat going through, not enough to cook your lens, but a tiny bit of heat just to get rid of any condensation on the inside. And I think that might be a really, really good purchase. They're about 20 quid. So definitely lesson learned there, because obviously it looked like I had Vaseline all on the inside of my my polarizer there. Obviously I didn't need the polarizer for the shot, it was just something I seen and tried to snap quick. I forgot to take the polarizer off. So yeah, didn't need the polarizer before anybody says that. But yeah, cool picture of the little sheep. He's really cool. I focused on the eye. I'm no Morton Hilmer. But I did focus with a small thing on the eye, and sadly at those settings, f6.3, 400th of a second, ISO 1250 on a 46 megapixel camera with that lens, it is not sharp, annoyingly. Very, very sad. But yes, lesson learned, that should have been at least f8 or at least 7.1 or something, just step down a little bit just to get a bit more sharpness out of the lens. And obviously without Vaseline all over the polarizer, it would have been helpful as well, wouldn't it? Anyway, this video is all about learning and making the mistakes and all that. So yeah, don't blame your gear, know its weaknesses, know your strengths. And obviously we're all human, we're all going to make mistakes and all that. But it's fun to make mistakes, but I'm kind of gutted about these pictures. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and let me know what you think. If you've, I'm sure you've been there as well, but you know, nice to see somebody else making these silly mistakes, eh? Thanks for watching, guys. Take care. I'll see you again.